When the soul feels lost, it is not a coincidence, nor is it a punishment. It is a sign that Allah is calling you back to Him. Every one of us, at some point in life, feels like a wanderer walking without direction, trying to make sense of confusion, trying to fill a void that nothing in this world seems to satisfy. And in those moments, when your heart feels heavy and your mind clouded, remember this. Allah is Al-Hadi the one who guides the lost wanderer. He never leaves his servant unguided. It is we who sometimes lose the will to seek his path. The loss of clarity you feel isn't distance from your purpose, it's distance from your Lord. When you look at the lives of those who came before us, the prophets, the companions, the righteous, they too faced moments of uncertainty. Even the most pious felt the ache of confusion, the pain of being lost, the burden of not knowing what comes next. Yet, what separated them from others was their response. They didn't despair, they turned back. They didn't allow their lostness to define them. They allowed it to lead them back to Allah. Because being lost doesn't mean you failed, it means you've been given a moment to rediscover the right direction. Many times, people say, I feel so tired. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I can't feel that spiritual spark. But my dear brothers and sisters, perhaps you're not truly tired, perhaps you've just drifted too far from the source of energy itself. You can't expect peace if you've stopped speaking to the one who gives peace. The moment you kneel in sujud and whisper to your Lord, guide me, something begins to shift within you. The heart that was restless starts to calm. The mind that was clouded begins to clear, because the moment you turn toward Him, He responds always. Allah never ignores a heart that sincerely calls out, "Oh my Lord, I'm lost, guide me back." Being lost is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign that your soul is searching. And Allah loves the searching soul. He says in the Quran, and those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways. You see, guidance doesn't just arrive. It's earned through sincerity and struggle. Even when you don't know what to do next, the simple act of turning to Allah, of asking Him for direction, of trusting His wisdom that is guidance already unfolding in your life. Sometimes, being lost is the most beautiful beginning of being found. When a traveler in the desert loses his path, panic only makes him more lost. But when he stops, looks around, seeks the stars, and recalls the map in his heart, he finds his way again. Our lives are the same. The stars for us are the verses of the Quran, and the map is our prayer. As long as you keep your eyes on the signs of Allah, you will never wander endlessly. You may take detours, you may stumble, but you will never be truly lost, because Allah never abandons the one who walks toward Him. So if you find yourself in a place of confusion today, feeling like you've lost direction, don't sink into despair. You are not alone. The most lost moments in life are often the closest moments to divine transformation. Allah may have taken something away to redirect you, not to break you. He may have allowed darkness so that you can finally see His light. When the heart becomes tired of running in every direction, it finally learns to stop and surrender. And in that surrender, guidance begins. Because the truth is simple, when you seek Allah sincerely, you can never remain lost. Many people today say, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I don't have energy anymore. But if we look a little deeper, we'll realize that it's not tiredness that's holding us back, it's a lack of discipline. We have trained our bodies to seek comfort, but we've neglected to train our souls to seek consistency. The problem isn't that life is too heavy, it's that we've stopped carrying it with purpose. The heart feels drained not because it's overworked, but because it's undernourished by the remembrance of Allah. True exhaustion isn't of the muscles, it's of the soul that's lost its direction. When you examine your daily routine, ask yourself, how much of it brings you closer to Allah, and how much of it distracts you from Him? We claim to have no time, but we spend hours scrolling through our phones. We say we have no focus, but we give our best energy to things that don't truly matter. And when our hearts feel empty, we call it tiredness when in reality, it's the result of undisciplined living. A believer's strength is not measured by how much he can do, but by how consistently he does what pleases his Creator. You can't expect peace if your habits constantly pull you away from the one who grants it. Discipline in faith is not a burden, it's liberation. It frees you from the chaos of inconsistency, from the constant emotional ups and downs that come with living without purpose. When you pray on time, when you recite even a few verses of Quran daily, when you guard your tongue and lower your gaze, you're not just doing acts of worship, you're building spiritual stamina. The soul, like the body, grows stronger with practice. But when we treat our worship as something optional, when we only turn to Allah in times of desperation, we lose that spiritual muscle. And then we wonder why even small struggles feel unbearable. It's because we haven't built the inner discipline that keeps the believer firm. You see, the most successful people in this world in any field are not necessarily the most talented, but the most consistent, and the same is true in faith. The Prophet said, "The most beloved deeds to Allah are those done consistently, even if they are small." That's discipline. It's not about doing everything at once, but about showing up for Allah every single day, no matter how you feel. When you commit to that level of consistency, your soul finds balance, and your mind finds peace. Tiredness becomes irrelevant because your actions are fueled by purpose, not emotion. And this discipline doesn't come naturally, it's something you build. It starts with one prayer prayed properly, one morning where you wake up before Fajr, one moment where you resist a sin because you remember who's watching. Each small act of control over your nafs adds strength to your heart. You begin to realize that discipline is mercy. Allah gave it to us as a path to spiritual stability. Without it, we live in cycles of guilt, regret, and half-hearted effort. With it, we rise above the noise of the dunya and start walking with clarity. When you say, "I'm tired of trying," ask yourself, tired of what? Of praying, of trying to be better? Or is it that you've never truly built the discipline to continue? Because the reality is, tiredness is temporary, but undisciplined living drains your entire existence. A disciplined soul knows how to push through moments of weakness, because it has anchored itself in something greater than feelings. It's anchored in purpose, in obedience, in the awareness that Allah is watching. So don't say you're tired when your heart is simply untrained. Don't mistake your distractions for exhaustion. Real tiredness ends with sleep, but spiritual fatigue ends only with sincerity, structure, and remembrance. If you truly want peace, then stop waiting for motivation and start building discipline, because the one who is disciplined for the sake of Allah never runs out of energy, only excuses. Allah reminds us in the Quran, "And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways." This ayah captures one of the most profound truths of faith. Guidance is not given to those who sit still and wait for it. It is granted to those who struggle sincerely for it. Allah strengthens those who strive for Him. The path of faith was never meant to be effortless. It was designed to test your patience, your consistency, and your sincerity. Every step you take, every sacrifice you make, every moment you push yourself to choose right over wrong, these are all signs that Allah is guiding you. Guidance is not a sudden light that appears in your life. It is a journey of perseverance, a reward for effort, and a reflection of divine love. When we speak about strength, we often think of physical endurance, emotional toughness, or worldly success. But true strength, the kind that Allah honors, is the ability to continue walking toward Him even when the path feels heavy. It's easy to be grateful when life is simple, but real strength shows when you're struggling, when you're questioning, when you're tired yet still whispering, "Ya Allah, guide me." That moment of struggle is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of your faith in action. The believer doesn't wait for clarity to move, he moves, and through that movement, Allah brings clarity. The doors of guidance open not when you complain, but when you continue. There will be times when discipline feels difficult, when your prayers feel empty, when your heart feels numb. But if you continue despite that feeling, That persistence itself is your worship. Allah sees your effort even when you don't see results. He sees your late night tears, your quiet repentance, your silent battles. And in His infinite mercy, He transforms every act of struggle into strength. The pain you feel now is not punishment, it is purification. Every time you resist sin, every time you choose to pray when you don't feel like it, every time you forgive when it hurts, you are building spiritual muscles that Allah Himself is nurturing. The world will tell you to seek comfort, but Allah tells you to seek effort, because comfort without purpose leads to emptiness, while effort with faith leads to growth. The strongest hearts are not those that never break, but those that keep returning to Allah after every break. The companions of the Prophet understood this deeply. They were not superhuman. They felt fear, sadness, and exhaustion, yet they never gave up. Their secret was not that they were perfect, but that they never stopped striving. And that striving brought them divine strength that no worldly power could match. Sometimes Allah delays ease because He wants to see your effort. He wants to elevate your rank through your patience, to show you that you're capable of more than you think. When you push yourself to pray when you feel lazy, when you fast even when it's difficult, when you choose truth even when it costs you, Allah sees every bit of that struggle and strengthens your heart in ways you cannot imagine. You might not feel stronger immediately, but the transformation is happening within you, quietly, steadily, beautifully. Remember, every act of effort you make for Allah brings you closer to Him. The path of striving is not about perfection, but persistence. You will stumble, you will fall, but every time you rise again, you rise higher in the sight of your Lord. The one who keeps striving never loses, because Allah's promise is clear. When you struggle for His sake, He will strengthen you, guide you, and never let your effort go to waste. And that is the true definition of divine strength. Guidance is not something that happens once in life and then remains forever. It is not a single moment of awakening that guarantees you'll never lose your way again. Guidance is a continuous journey, a daily decision to keep walking toward Allah even when the path feels long, even when distractions try to pull you away. Being guided once is mercy, but staying guided requires consistency, humility, and discipline. The wanderer becomes truly guided not when he finds the path, but when he learns to walk it every day with conviction. Many people experience moments of deep faith. They attend a lecture, they go for Umrah or Hajj, they go through hardship and their hearts awaken. They feel close to Allah, they cry in prayer, they make promises to change, but as time passes, that feeling fades, not because Allah has left them, but because they stopped nourishing that light. Guidance, like a flame, must be protected from the winds of heedlessness. You cannot expect your heart to remain illuminated if you stop fueling it with remembrance and obedience. The Quran reminds us repeatedly to be steadfast, to hold fast to the rope of Allah, because staying guided requires deliberate effort every single day. The key to remaining guided is consistency. Even small, sincere actions repeated regularly become the pillars of a strong faith. It's not about doing great things occasionally, it's about doing small things persistently. When you pray every day on time, even if your mind is distracted, that's a sign of guidance. When you open the Quran for a few minutes each day just to connect with your Lord, that's a sign of guidance. When you forgive others, when you resist a temptation, when you give in charity quietly, these are all footsteps on the path of divine guidance. Each act reinforces the connection between you and your Creator. And yes, there will be days when you stumble, you will lose motivation, you will make mistakes, you will feel distant. But remember, falling is not failure, staying down is. Allah's door never closes, no matter how far you drift. Every time you return, you renew your guidance. That's why the believer constantly prays *Idinas, Surat al-Mustaqim, **, guide us to the straight path. Notice how we ask for guidance in every rak'ah, every prayer, every single day. It's because guidance isn't a possession. It's a request, a need, a breath of the soul. Without it, we lose clarity. With it, even hardship becomes manageable. Even pain has meaning. When you start treating your guidance as something that must be maintained, your relationship with Allah changes. You stop depending on emotional highs to feel close to Him and start depending on disciplined devotion. You begin to realize that true faith is not about feeling inspired. It's about remaining committed even when inspiration fades. The more you practice consistency, the more Allah opens your heart to deeper understanding. You begin to notice His signs everywhere in your tests, your blessings, your silence, your stillness. You start to live with purpose, no longer wandering aimlessly, because you've learned to walk with intention and awareness. The wanderer becomes disciplined when he understands that purpose is not found, it's built, one act of obedience at a time. And with each act, Allah increases your clarity, your peace, and your strength. He removes the confusion that once clouded your path and replaces it with calm certainty. The more consistent you are, the more Allah guides your steps. Guidance is not an event, it's a lifestyle, a way of living that reflects trust in your Creator. When you align your will with Allah's will, when you keep striving even through the silence, you stop wandering. You stop searching for meaning outside yourself, because you realize meaning was always found in submission. And once your heart learns to walk with Allah, it never feels lost again.